Welcome to Sunday morning at Mountain Vista Unitarian Universalist Church. I am so happy to see all of you here. Some new faces, welcome. A lot of faces I've seen before, also welcome. I don't know, I always sometimes feel when I wander into a new church for the first time, are people really gonna be friendly and welcoming? Is this really where I'm supposed to be? And I like to say, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. You're exactly where you need to be this morning, and it's wonderful to see you all here. I'm Chris Tackett. I'm the piano player and music director here at Mountain Vista. It's my job to say, y'all know what to do with these. Take a second, double check, and make sure. Whatever that means for you, terrific. Yeah, especially us, because if you think it's embarrassing when a phone goes off out there. We're talking about Star Trek again today, as we do every so often, since it so neatly intersects. I love when pop culture intersects with what we're talking about as you use. I'm still getting questions about Dolly Parton from a couple of weeks ago. Happy birthday, Dolly. We did a whole service about Dolly Parton. It was wonderful. I got to sing Jolene and everything. It was a lot of fun. We celebrate her because she so neatly embraces all of the values and everything that we strive for in terms of radical acceptance. And the exploration of the universe and the exploration of space and the exploration of the space between people as well. Well, I'm sure I don't want to jump into anything because we have a wonderful guest this morning, which you'll hear more about in a moment, that I'm sure will more than get into all of that. When we did this last time, I did the Alexander Courage Star Trek theme. I also pointed out that there are lyrics to it. Did you know there are lyrics to the theme? I got a couple people who asked me, well, why didn't you sing them? And I said, well, they're 1966. But I'm going to sing them this morning. It's 1966. Bear that in mind. But Alexander Courage and lyrics by Gene Roddenberry. I don't know if he ever intended for them to be sung, or if it was one of those cynical publishers' ploys where he wrote lyrics, so every time the tune was used, every time an episode was played, he got like an extra 2 cents, which I'm sure by now has added up to an awful lot. Please remember 1966. I know his journey ends never. His Star Trek will go on forever. But tell him while he wanders his starry seas, remember me.
Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
Good morning. Welcome to Mountain Vista Unitarian Universalist Congregation, MVUU, where we gather in the desert that was, is, and always will be the home of the Thanaathan and Yaqui people. We honor their enduring relationship to this land that we also call home. My name is Jerry Leggett. I am the pastoral associate helping with today's service. Our settled minister, Reverend Matthew Funk Crary, is on retreat today with some other UUers. I'm sure he's doing all serious stuff. I want to also recognize and thank, especially grateful to welcome Reverend Sunshine Jeramiah Wolfe, helping with today's service. Some of you know they. Our settled minister, I mentioned, is gone. They are our Pacific Western Region lead who will bring their Boldly Go message to MVUU today. I want to also recognize and thank our dedicated staff, including Chris Tackett, our music director, Stacy Sosa Cineros, our RE Religious Exploration Education Coordinator, Michelle Vitas Dini, did I say your last name right? Wow, a member of our Pastoral Care Committee, and Kalia Martin, our temporary congregational administrator. Plus, there's more. An ongoing thank you to the many volunteers that contribute each week. Back there is our AV crew, lots of folks. Lee and Alex and Chuck and Ann. I think I got everybody. And our welcome and hospitality folk, including David Forrester and Kathleen Reeve, and our song leader, Joel Yellen, and volunteers in RE who are with our children right now. And a shout out to Maria Menconi, a pastoral associate who graciously offered to help some behind-the-scenes writing for our gathering, for some of us who are not as Trekkie as others. Our services, they're not just attended by those of you who are here in person, but also virtually. Some will be watching this in real time, and others will be watching later. You're also very welcome. Thanks for being with us. If we can now please turn around to the camera for Chuck and wave at our folks attending virtually. He'll pan the room. Look at this amazing Starship crew today. It's incredible. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As I mentioned, today's service theme is to boldly go. I was 11 years old once, 1966, when a voice came across our television saying, "Space, the final frontier." And something in me and us leaned forward. Adventure, possibility, a crew learning how to live their values in uncertain times. Now, I'd never considered myself a Trekkie, but I know this much. Faith is a frontier too. And these days, well, it feels like we're traveling through unfamiliar space. Democracy, that fragile system meant to ensure dignity and access for all, wow, it feels less certain for sure than it once did. So maybe the question isn't about distant galaxies. Maybe the question we can be pondering is this: who are we on this starship called community? What guides our compass? What steadies our hands? And how will we, with courage, with compassion, with one another, boldly go together? So, let's lift off. Please join me in this chalice lighting, the great experiment by our own Maria Manconi. Your part that you'll read will appear on the screens here momentarily, so get ready. Space may be the final frontier, but the inner reaches of the human spirit are just as vast. Come together, not as a monolithic crew, but as a federation of seekers, each of us a different species of thought, heart, and experience. We're going to keep going. Next. Unknown. We do not light this flame to conquer the night, but to signal one another across the distance. This light reminds us we are not alone. May this flame represent our quest to love without coercion, to seek truth without dogma, and to boldly go into a future built on justice and peace. The voyage continues. Let it be so. And now we get to work. We do not voyage into the future alone. We seek out and partner with those whose journey parallels our own. All this month we offer our financial support in partnership with the Children's Action Alliance. We recognize their ongoing mission to seek and find an Arizona where children and families thrive. They do this through advocacy at our state capitol, reaching out to local media outlets, offering workshops to parents, educators, medical staff, and politicians across the state. And when necessary, they go to Washington, D.C., bringing the demands for safety, education, and health for all Arizona children and for their families. So with admiration and thanks for the Children's Action Alliance, we set out our woven basket next to our wooden basket just outside those doors. The basket is our offering to support their work, and beside it, the bowl for the ongoing ministries of this congregation. So as you leave our sanctuary to join together in fellowship and refreshment, please offer what you can in the basket or the bowl, knowing that all you give is gratefully, gratefully received.
Our first song this morning comes out of the Teal hymnal, the one we affectionately call the Teal hymnal, Singing the Journey. Also, the words will be up on the screen in a moment, so if you want to grab a book because it's easier to read the music, please do so. Otherwise, the words will be up there. This one's easy. We've sung it many, many times before, but let's review it bit by bit. Let me sing a line, you sing it back to me. Building bridges between our divisions. Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions. Friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Friends, we could make such sweet harmony. I have to say it, this would be easier if you all just came to choir on Wednesday nights. 6:30, right here. Would be really nice. Let's sing the whole thing all together one all the time straight through. And here's Joel. Come on. I need your help too. And building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Why don't you start with your side of the room? I'll answer with my side of the room.
Hey, Captain.
And we'll sing together twice through the entire form. So, you're starting. And here we go. Let's answer them nice and strong. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Thank you. Wednesday nights.
Are we on now? Hey. Good morning, beautiful people. How are y'all doing today? You're going to find I like it when you respond to me and, make noise. So please do so throughout the sermon. And if you're not comfortable, be bold. I want to name a slight connection between Dolly Parton and Star Trek, which is that a TV show came out many years ago called The Orville. Any Orville fans in here know what I'm talking about? Whoa, okay, if you like Star Trek, you have to watch The Orville. Anyway, it's a parody of all the Star Trek shows, of which there are many. And in one situation, there's a culture that doesn't allow females to exist. They're a monogender culture. And the women who are born break off and go off onto another moon, and as they're trying to get their freedom, the people of the Orville are helping them figure it out, and they play working 9 to 5 in the shuttle to the women so that the women have a sense of we got this, and they're like, this is great. Fast forward 2 seasons, and they're on their moon, and they're doing great, and you see them doing this interpretive dance around a fire to Jolene, Jolene. Anyway, so there's a tie-in to the former worship service, and Dolly was on that show. It was excellent. All right. Star Trek. Reverend Matthew said, can you talk about Star Trek? That's a broad subject. That can mean a number of things. And then, of course, there are the folks who are not Star Trek fans at all. I'm assuming some of them are in this room. And so, how do we... yeah, no, you're okay. How do we connect the things? Here's the thing. Star Trek, the original series, while it came out in 1966, was not popular. It didn't do very well, which is why it only lasted 3 seasons. Where it did well was in the 1970s, when it was syndicated. And by that time, the mood of the United States had changed. We had gone through all of the events of the 60s, and folks were a little more open to the messages. In fact, Gene Roddenberry even really struggled to get Star Trek on the air and had to convince them that it was a space western. Because the TV shows that were popular in the 60s were westerns. Now, I got to tell you, as an Eastern Cherokee Seminole human being, not a fan of westerns. but I do love Star Trek, and I understand the pickle he was in, right? How do you sell this to folks who don't necessarily understand the message, which was basically, we, not because of our differences, not in spite of our differences, but because of our differences, can be in community together to explore the world. And that first series, let's be really clear, it had a colonizer mindset to it. They went out and they explored other places and they infested people with their values. They tore things up. They were xenophobic. They were misogynistic, let's be real clear, even with all of what was going on in that show. But what was really powerful about it is that as a piece of speculative fiction, it got an entire society to imagine that the other could not only be us, but that we could do amazing things together. And that's the power of speculative fiction. And I'm going to talk a little more, but just to give you a sense of speculative fiction, there's science fiction, and there's fantasy, and in the Venn diagram of that, there's a world called speculative fiction, which is about imagining what might become of us as a species in the future. So Star Trek is an example of that. There are numerous ones. I'm about to sing a song, and I want to give it a little bit of context. It's called Where You Go, and my assumption is you've sung it here before.
Yes, we have.
So Where You Go is created by Shoshana Jedwab, a Jewish musician, and it is based on the story of Ruth and Naomi. And I actually would argue that the story of Ruth and Naomi in the Bible is in and of itself a form of speculative fiction. Because it dared to imagine that two people of completely different religions, completely different understandings, where one had enslaved the other group's folks, could find a path together, despite all odds, and even though society told them that they shouldn't be together. Society told Naomi that she should not follow her mother-in-law. Her mother-in-law basically should go off in the desert and die, and Naomi, should find a new husband. And instead she said, no, I choose to stay with you. It's a powerful message, and a difficult one. So I argue that's a speculative story at that time. Because the thing about speculative fiction is it takes what we know now and casts the circle wide. Yeah? So the song goes like this. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. They boldly went. How many of you, thinking about all of the things happening in our national culture right now, in the United States and even globally, think about everything that happened in Minneapolis, things that are happening on our border, the things that are happening to trans folks, to people of color, to women. How many of you are feeling bold right now? Bold, B-O-L-D. Handful of folks are feeling bold. How many of you are feeling completely dispirited, like you just got nothing left? How many of you are a mixture of both? Yeah. The thing is, we're called to be bold in times like these, but we don't always feel it. And part of what creativity calls us into is those spaces where we don't feel like we can meet that moment, where we don't feel like we can do the thing, we can be resilient. Except it's music, and it's art, it's poetry. It's the 101 ways we continue to choose to be in relationship with each other again and again and again, despite broken promises over and over. Because we do break our promises every day. And we recommit to them. And why? Because we're human beings. No one in this room is perfect. Are you? Any perfect people? Oh, I see. Yeah, Melody apparently is perfect. Okay. Right? None of us are perfect. We're not here to have this be a perfect, wonderful scenario. That is not what we inherited, and let's be real clear, it is not what we're passing on. Because we can't build the world we dream about in 1 or 5 or 7 generations. It takes hundreds and thousands of years of little action by little action between people and communities to create the world that we're a part of. And all we can do is control that little bit that is in our world. Star Trek showed a way in which a team of people came together to do the seemingly impossible, traverse further in space than anyone ever had, to meet species that they had no capacity to communicate with, and sometimes didn't even know was a species. One of my favorites is when they learn that this rock that they think they should mine is actually an intelligence that they should not mine, right? Getting so outside of our way of thinking to call us into our best selves. How many of you like change? How many of you like change? Yeah? Some? How many of you would rather change just go away? It's okay. How many of you like change when things are going well, but not so much when they're not? That's me, really. And yet the reality is, of course, as much as we like our habits, and we like familiar things, and familiar people, and familiar foods, and our favorite music, and all of those things, we are born as a changing species, constantly. Ever changing. One of my favorite speculative fiction authors is Octavia Butler. In her book, The Parable of the Sower, she tells the story of Lauren, a little girl who grows up in a world that, goodness, when you read it, it's a little too eerie how like today it is. Octavia Butler wrote it in the 80s and 90s, and boy, goodness, did she tell some truth. In it, Lauren's father is a Christian minister, and she's realizing she's not Christian. She's not buying what he's selling. And she starts to create her own religion, in which she decides that the only true thing is that God is change. God is change. And because my brain always likes to do a variation of this, let me make sure I quote it properly. She writes, nope, that's the Orville. That's not going to help me. Apologies. Anyway, all that you touch, you change. All that you change changes you. The only truth is change. God is change. Now, we're Unitarian Universalists. We're not big on defining God. I'm not entirely sure how comfortable this congregation is with the word God. Depends on the person, I'm sure. For me, God may be some great entity, but God also can be that which gives us meaning, right? For me, it's a mix of like physics, a little bit of metaphysics, music, nature. There's a whole lot of stuff kind of woven in there, right? And one of the things I love about Unitarian Universalism is that we believe that as long as you are faithful to your understanding of spirituality and religion, you are welcome on our ship. Because we don't expect everybody to be the same, right? Right? Okay, making sure. We do believe that it's important we figure out how we're in relationship. And when you think about that show, they have a common understanding of what it means to be in community. To be intentional and caring about the people around you. To clarify assumptions. To realize that what you may think is true is not how it works for everyone. We're called to focus not so much on what we believe. In fact, on my partner's car that I drove up here today, he has a bumper sticker that says, "Don't believe everything you think." and don't, right? But what we are called to do is to be in this magical experiment together. Speculative fiction gives us this imagining of the possible. In her story, Lauren goes through a whole series of events, but what signifies her life as a young black girl in an ever-crumbling California is the people she chooses to travel the road with. And they figure out continually how to be in relationship with each other despite challenges and uncertainties. What does it mean to be in community? For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. Speculative fiction invites us to consider the question not only what does it mean to be pluralistic, but what does it mean to be interdependent? And what can interdependence look like? Who are we? How are we defined? What does it mean to say yes to the other? One of my favorite Jewish philosophers is a man named Emmanuel Levinas. It's one of those, it's translated from French, so each sentence is like a paragraph long and makes your head hurt, and took me 6 weeks to work through a chapter. I'm not going to put you through all of that, because why? There's an important thing that he writes. He talks about otherness. And big O other meaning God or those sorts of things, onto which we project so much. Our society projects so much on what is big O other, the universe, the world. Little O other is you and me. I'm going to pick on you, Jerry. There's this moment where we're talking to each other, and you're saying something, and I say, oh, I get exactly what that's like, and then I tell you what I thought you said, and I didn't hear you at all. Anybody ever experienced that? It's kind of frustrating, ain't it? We call it stealing the story plane. If you're a Hannah Gatsby fan who's a comedian, you'll know what I mean. But in this instance, what Emmanuel Levinas says is there's a moment where if Jerry is talking, and I understand what Jerry said, not for what I think or how I think, but actually how he thinks, that in that moment, that's where God lives. Now, whether you believe in God or not, this is a sacred place. The place where we actually hear each other. Not for how we think about the world, but how the other thinks about it. And it's sacred because it's hard. Another one of my favorite speculative fiction books that's a little problematic, but is Stranger in a Strange Land. Any Stranger in a Strange Land fans? The word grok, G-R-O-K, grok, basically means that. It means to understand someone from their perspective, not your own. It's a difficult place to get to. And it isn't necessarily something we have to strive to do, but to recognize that how Jerry thinks about the world matters. And I may not agree with it, I may not even like it, but it matters. So many of the folks that I hear in the MAGA sphere and the folks who are very fundamentalist Christian is a worldview in which they cannot be redeemed. And while I may not agree with that in any way whatsoever, and I may not like that they're trying to enforce a society where we all have to experience that, it does matter. Because there's a soul ache in that. That if I ignore that pain and just get mad about it, I can't meet them where they are. And the reality is, they're on my ship too. Right? They're on my ship too, whether I like it or not. There are folks out there that are, my government has declared me as a transgender person as a domestic terrorist. I did that in January. They're still on my ship. I don't get to pick and choose who I'm in interdependent relationship with. I do get to pick and choose what I do about it. I hope I do it kind of like Minneapolis did, with a full, forceful no and not a lot of violence, right? But it's a growth process. It's not easy. The other thing that speculative fiction does is it invites us to imagine what the impact of technology and what we're struggling with now means for the future. I'm going to name a bunch of resources, and I was going to write them down and I forgot. What you can do is make sure you get an email address for me today, and I will send you all the books I'm talking about. There's one in particular I've been reading recently called Under the Eye of Big Bird by Hiromi Kawakami, who's a Chinese speculative fiction author. And a brave soul, because in China, writing this stuff can be a little stressful, because if you say the wrong thing, you're in trouble. And yet she has some really hard-hitting questions. What if AI not only is benevolent, but it becomes the thing that saves us? What if our future is not in humanity, but in combining our genetics with other animals? Is there something inherent in our nature that we keep destroying the other so that we can't survive? Or is there some hope beyond that? And it literally goes through tens of thousands of years of story to assess, is humanity even worth saving? That's a hard, hard question. I would argue, yes, we are worth saving. But we have to be asking those kinds of hard-hitting questions in order to make a world in which we can boldly go together. In each of these stories, humanity survives or it doesn't. And in the process, we learn something about ourselves, about how we are as people, what it means to go together, what it means to be interdependent, what it means to be human. So, friends, I'm going to pause here. We're going to come back in part 2. My question for you is, what are you willing to do to boldly go together, knowing that you're not going to like everybody on the way, that we're all stuck with each other, and it's still a possibility to build the world of which we dream?
Just a little bit. 60 seconds. 60 seconds of talk. Okay. Oh, okay. I just wanted to get them ready. Get these folks ready. Hello. Thank you, especially for the music. Meditation for the Federation. Let's turn one of the mics off, okay? We're getting double. A Trek-inspired meditation for everyone, fans and non-fans alike. Friends, let's arrive. Find a posture that is both comfortable and awake. Imagine sitting at the controls of a ship, attentive but not tense. Would you place your feet on the floor? Let your spine lengthen, tall, not stiff. Relax your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. Rest your hands gently. If you'd like, close your eyes or soften your gaze. Take a slow breath in and a longer breath out. Again, in through your nose and out. In Star Trek, there's often a moment before action begins, a pause on the bridge of the starship. The bridge, of course, is simply the room where people gather to make thoughtful decisions. So for a moment, imagine this room as our bridge. Now we'll do what Star Trek calls a systems check. That just means noticing what's happening inside without judgment. So, let's notice. Bring your attention to your forehead, your eyes, your jaw. Notice your neck and shoulders. If you find tension, you might quietly say, noted. Not wrong, not bad, just noticed. Now move your awareness to your chest, your breathing, your belly. Let the belly soften. Scan down to your hips, legs, and feet. Feel the floor supporting you. Now in Star Trek, when something urgent happens, an alarm sounds called a red alert. So let's name this clearly. There's no red alert right now. Nothing to solve. Nothing to fix. Just this breath and this shared moment. Star Trek imagines a future where imperfect humans keep choosing their values even in uncertain times. So, here are a few gentle questions to hold. What is my current condition, physically, emotionally, mentally? What feels steady in me right now? What feels unsettled? The characters in Star Trek often speak about the Federation being that hopeful idea, a community of different beings learning to cooperate across differences. We might think of our community that way, diverse, imperfect, trying. So consider, what value do I want to help bring into the world today? Compassion? Courage, curiosity, repair. What would it look like to treat the person in front of me as fully human? What future do I want my small daily choices to move us toward? In Star Trek, when a ship begins its journey, the captain sometimes says one word, engage. It simply means let's move forward together. So take one more steady breath in. And as you exhale, imagine aligning yourself with your best intentions, not perfect, just sincere. Now feel the chair beneath you. Feel the floor beneath your feet. Notice the presence of the people around you. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. May we move forward imperfect, thoughtful, guided by our shared values. Live long and prosper, my friends. to you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Voyage.
We're going to do that one more time because we're really good at this.
Okay.
Ours is an enterprising
Voyage.
of discovery.
For ourselves and the next generation.
We have chosen our mission, our purpose for taking this trek as a Unitarian Universalist congregation to be, and you all know this, engage, love, transform. We gather each week to celebrate our joys and our differences of thought, heart, and experience. And we gather to comfort one another in the sorrows we know and the suffering of our world. We gather to engage, love, and transform.
We pour out water collected from Sonoran skies, from the taps in our home, from springs bubbling up from the earth.
No, it's a drama. Get into the drama.
This is our congregation. And we take up stones, which are strong enough, wise enough to hold all that is in our hearts. There are times when we have permission to share what is happening with individuals in our community, and I do have two to share today. One is from Kim Lager, and she shares that despite being able to take her son Dylan home from a very long stay in the hospital this week, they had to go to the emergency room on Friday, and he's been readmitted. She's hoping they will better balance for his system, and he will be able to come home by February 20th for a gathering of their family. She would be glad for texts of support. The second one is from Susan Calder. Vince Calder was returned to the hospital, I know some of you know that, where they diagnosed that he has pancreatic cancer and metastatic liver. So he is now back at home with in-home hospice. She's looking for some respite since she's going to physical therapy herself on Monday afternoons and Friday afternoons, and welcomes all texts and support from everyone here. And last Sunday, Melody and Sherry organized the first meeting of Singing Resistance Tucson, inspired by the powerful movement in Minneapolis to unite and embolden people through music. They had such a welcome surprise. Nice to have some good news. 50 energized people arrived ready to raise their voices and give their time in support. Sherry shares, and I quote, "When we sang together, the harmony and passion were electric, an unmistakable, goosebump-raising expression of love, care, and commitment to our country and our neighbors." Please ask them more about Singing Resistance Tucson if you wish to learn more. We recognize that there is much among us, more than we give voice to. So we gather many stones and we drop them into the waters as we engage, love, and transform ourselves and the world together. Fill these with your sorrow and grief that has been unspoken. May we engage, love, and transform to know more love and joy. Fill these with your concerns and fear. May we engage, love, and transform to work networks of trust. Fill these with your anger and outrage. Yes, they are welcome here too. May we engage, love, and transform and discover the passion for justice, a long and lasting justice for all. We create our action. Fill these with your confusion and your feelings of powerlessness.
So true.
And with love as our guide, may we engage, love, and transform, and make together the fertile ground for a new future to be seeded, nurtured, and grow. This is our purpose. This is why we are here. And it leads us forward to engage, love, and transform.
We are led in this purpose by many. Thank you for your service to our congregation. We are led specifically in our comfort and celebration by our pastoral care committee. Please, they are here, they're listening, hearing what is happening in your life and leading MVUU in our collective response. Please reach out to any of them if you have a joy or a sorrow you want us to know, so that we might ever work together on our mission and our aspiration of inclusion. May it be so as we choose it to be.
In the words of, is this on? In the words of Battlestar Galactica, so say we all. Which is another speculative fiction TV show. So we've talked about what it means to be pluralistic, and as Unitarian Universalists, we hold that pluralism very seriously. We need not think alike to love alike in the 1500s, to more recently saying we need not love alike to love one another, to imagining a world in which our differences are something that multiply our wonder, our hope, and our resilience, rather than diminish. We are interdependent beings, inherently, and hopefully have moved away from the notion that we are somehow supposed to just self-regulate ourselves, that nice Western colonizing, you're responsible for everything Christian hegemonic concept, into one that says, yes, self-regulation is important, and so is co-regulation. That we help each other regulate and build resistance and strength. That none of us can do it alone. One of my supervisors, she just retired from the UUA, Jessica York. She is a black woman from Birmingham, Alabama. She was a religious educator for 20 years before she started working for our Unitarian Universalist Association. And she thinks of the words of Mother Teresa, which is, peace is not possible until humanity recognizes it belongs to one another. Jessica addended that to say, the original sin of humanity is that we forgot that we belong to one another. And if that is our original sin, what do we do to bring things back into shape? In Judaism, the concept of tikkun, the concept that our job is to constantly and over generations repair the tree of life that has been broken. That is not something that is one and done. I feel for boomer generation folks, and you know who you are, who gave so much of your young adult years in life to justice movements, to civil rights, to the Panthers, the American Indian movement, to all of these organizations and groups with this hope of changing the world. And to quote one of my favorite musicians who wrote a song, I didn't fuck it up. What the hell happened? We were going to change the world. But the great failing was not in thinking big enough. And so the final part of speculative fiction, of Star Trek, and all of these various stories that I want you to consider is the act of legacy. That legacy isn't something that is done through your life. Your personal legacy does not define all things. It's our collective legacy. It's what we build together. I, Sunshine, am not all that in a bag of chips. That's Hoosier for, I'm not the one who's going to do it all. I'm from Indiana, so Hoosier. Yeah. I'm Hoosier. I'm from Indiana. There we go. When you think of speculative fiction, you think of stories that can take generations and generations to build. Star Trek begets Star Trek Next Generation. Beget Deep Space Nine. Beget Voyager. Beget New Worlds. Starfleet Academy. All of these other spin-offs and stories, Babylon 5 and Battlestar Galactica, and stories upon stories about what it might mean to be a spacefaring species and what might be transformed in us by what we reach in the world. One of my favorite authors is Becky Chambers. She's a wonderful queer artist. Some of you may have heard the Monk and Robot stories. They're very thin. If you're a minister, you have to read them. But one of her series is called the Wayfarer series. And the basis of it is this. Humanity found itself immensely divided. The earth was dying, and all of the wealthy people picked up, moved to Mars, and left everybody else to thrive on their own. That's not sounding familiar at all. Right? And so then over the course of generations, the people who were left on planet Earth, knowing that if they stayed they would die, deconstructed all of the cities on the planet and created giant generation ships. The people who started constructing the ships did not live to see them anywhere near completion. And the people who took off of them never lived to see what would come. Generation after generation, building one on the other, on the other, on the other. Can you even fathom that? And eventually, the wayfarers on these ships come across aliens who end up saving their lives, because if they had traveled many more generations beyond that, they wouldn't have been able to continue. And so now they have to heal the rift between them and Mars, figure out how to live in the Galactic Commons, which is a long-standing group of 6 different alien species, and keep redefining what it means to be human. And what's interesting about these wayfarers is they're peaceful, because what they experienced when the rich left Mars led to so many problems that they committed that they would never engage in war again. And so any human you met, war was such an anathema that most of them wouldn't even hold a gun. Can you imagine that? You can't imagine that, right? Imagine all of humanity committing to that. And this is what speculative fiction does. It allows us to consider the fact that it takes forever, literally, to create the world we dream about. Which could be dispiriting. But I invite you to this. If you know you can't possibly do it all in a generation, in your lifetime, then it makes it that much easier to do the things you can do. Because you don't have to do it all. We can't do it all. And you can just look at generations of queer folks, black folks, indigenous folks, Jewish folks, women, folks with disabilities, all these communities. We have not arrived. But generation to generation, we keep doing our little bit. Speculative fiction gives us a sense of the long game, of the possible that is far beyond what we know. And to stop taking on that perfectionist, individualistic notion that somehow we're going to be the ones who solve it. The work we do matters. What matters more is our relationships with each other and how we create the generations to come. So hold to that. hold to that truth and that reality. And so with that, I want to close by saying that it's our moral imagination that allows us to imagine the possible, to imagine what it means to deal with the new technologies and the new things that are coming up in our world. We get to play with Star Trek. And when I say that, I mean literally. Like, do you know how much fan fiction Star Trek has? Or Star Wars? Or any of the speculative fiction pieces? Or heck, even if you're like into Grey's Anatomy, there's so much fan fiction that imagines the possible. I'm just saying, our moral imagination is what helps us figure out solutions to things we never understood we actually could do something about. Engaging in these stories is not just a peace and long life or doing the actions. It's a commitment to saying, humanity matters, my peace in it matters, and we can build something together as long as we decide it's worth our doing. I know this congregation does a lot of great work. I know each of you individually does. Keep working on those relationships and the things outside of you. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Doesn't mean I'm going to be with you. I'm not going to be like stalking Jerry after today. It does mean that together we can create something new and possible. So I'm going to sing a line. You're going to sing it back to me. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people are my people. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. So I'm going to invite you to rise as your spirits and bodies allow. If you are more comfortable sitting, please stay seated. If you are near someone who's sitting, maybe choose to stay seated with them in solidarity. But as you are comfortable, please rise, move, wriggle, whatever you need. We'll sing it once through. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. And that does not mean your God is my God. It means that which is sacred to you, I will hold with sacredness. You're divine, my divine. You're divine, my divine. So may it be. Please be seated. Peace and long life. Does anybody know the proper response to that? Live and long and prosper. The response to that is peace and long life.
I know y'all just sat back down. I'm going to make you stand again, or rise, or stay seated. It's entirely your choice. Whatever makes you comfortable. Singing makes us rise in so many different ways. I like it when we sing, when we stand to sing, because when we stand to sing, it takes the pressure off the chest and the diaphragm, and you can breathe so much better. But for many reasons, a lot of people don't stand, or a lot of people don't have a way to do that. So sit nice and tall. Rise, body, mind, spirit, whatever works for you. Let's sing.
Energize.
10:17, building a new way. 10:17, singing the journey. Rise in whatever way makes sense for you.
Do you have
During the benediction?
during the benediction? What?
Extinguishing the chalice?
Not quite yet. Announcements. The script says Jerry adds his final thoughts and feelings. Honest to God, no. But what I did want to say was something that struck me was this go boldly stuff can get to be kind of intimidating, right? For example, I was going to go boldly and show you how I can do, the live and prosper. Now, when I was 11, but now it's a bit of a struggle. And I was thinking about one of my mentors, a Quaker mentor who was struggling with the neurological malfunction as he grew older, a very proper man, spoke to us one day and said for him, his journey about being bold and doing what he could do had to do with learning to honor his diminishments. Honoring his diminishments. Now, I may be the only one in this group that's getting a little bit older. No matter what our age, right, we're all struggling to understand how we go boldly in the context of our humanity, and for some of us, particularly in the humanity of some of those other bozos, those other folks who drive us crazy. And so the message that I heard you say was tough, get into it, do what you can do, give yourself a break, move forward boldly, knowing that it is the community ultimately together that can make all of this thrive. And so I'm really grateful for your words today. Thank you. Announcements. The future is happening and MBUU is a part of it, engaging, loving, and transforming. We want you to know about all the abundant opportunities to get involved here at MVUU. So we invite you to our information connection table on our patio during our fellowship and refreshments, or if you're online, go to the web. We'll get it updated soon. Caring Circles. We are glad to highlight our Caring Circles program. Caring Circles, a dynamic means for you to know and be known here at MVUU. We have several different groups made up of participants at MVUU who want to share more with one another and go deeper into the friendships we have and are building. Pi, did I say your name correctly? Pi, right? Okay, thank you. Is our coordinator. We will connect you with her to learn more. And with leaders of other programs, if you stop by that information table. In addition to what we are doing here at MVUU, we want you to know about opportunities out in the community. Sherry or Melody, are you going to speak about Singing Resistance Tucson? Take it away.
Wow. We had, Sherry, are you here? I was expecting you to be here. Oh, good. Do you want to go up? We had our first meeting last Sunday, and over 50 people poured in the doors at the meeting place, and we were so rewarded by that. So Sherry and I would like to announce that if you would like to join the Singing Resistance group, get the Signal app on your phone. Get your Signal app, set up your profile, and then tell one of us, and we will get you on, because you have to be vetted to be approved to the Signal app, and we will vet you. We'll say, okay, we got this one. We trust this one. So please do join us. Do you want to say anything?
No, except it's a wonderful group and a way to feel heartened and enlivened and emboldened in this time to sing with a group of other people about peace and justice. Come join us.
And we both have Minnesota roots, so we get it. We get it. I don't know, Vince, if you're going to make an announcement. 2:00 today, there's a nonviolence training. It won't cost you anything but 4 hours of your life. So 2:00 today, right here, nonviolence training.
Thank you. Now this vetting, it doesn't have to do with long hair, right? I could probably get in. Okay, didn't know. Thank you. All right, Multi-Faith for Pride concert. We are a founding congregation of Multi-Faith Pride. Is this something you want to say something about, or do you want me to read this?
I certainly can. You can read what's there, but Multi-Faith for Pride is sponsoring Namali Brennett. Some of you I know Namali. She's actually going to be here that same Sunday morning. She'll be here with us on March the 1st, and then in the afternoon at 4 o'clock over at Our Savior's Lutheran, we'll be co-sponsoring a concert with her over there. It's off of Campbell. All the information will be in your newsletter, I'm sure. Namali is an absolutely wonderful singer, songwriter. She used to be local. I worked with her for many years with Desert Voices. She is an amazing composer, singer, songwriter, guitarist, piano player. She does virtually everything, and she puts out a lot of records on her own, and she's absolutely wonderful. Please come hear her here on that Sunday morning, and then we'll come to the concert in the afternoon at Our Savior's. Please come hear her. She's wonderful.
Releasing the Flame. All of those who are participating, please join us.
Will you join us, please, Reverend Sunshine?
Please. I got to get around there so I can do that. It is Our Journey Together by Reverend Dr. Deborah Hafner. We are on a journey. We didn't plan it. We didn't have time for the bread to rise. We may find ourselves in the wilderness, hungry, thirsty, doubting that we should have ever come. But look around. We are not alone. It is our journey together. A journey to better ourselves, a journey to a better world, a journey to a more promised land.
All right. We're going to do a benediction. Maybe. Is this on? Yeah, okay, good. This is Mentor, by the way. Mentor likes to fly, so if you want to toss Mentor around later, let me know. Also, I have a sticker ministry, so I will probably find a spot out there. And if you would like some stickers, these are adult stickers, not... That didn't sound right. These are not stickers just to give away to kids. I put a lot of money into it, so these are for you. I want you to take a moment and look around this room at the people. And now, if you're an introvert or neurodivergent, I'm not asking you to look longingly in the eyes of your neighbor. I'm just asking you to look around and notice the people here. Who's here with you? This is your sacred community. This is where you practice what it means to be human. Through the minds and hearts and spirits of the people here, even the folks you don't like, and I promise not everybody here likes each other, we create the world we dream about. We practice what it means to be human so that the broken world that needs that message can see what we model together. We are not perfect, and we are never, ever alone. So I ask you this, are you willing to commit to each other to do the good work in the world? Are you sure? Yes. Are you willing to go boldly, which means to take some time to rest, to do the hard things, and to know that you can't do it alone? Are you willing to do that? Yes. Are you willing as a community to be forever present and to know that you will not see the finish line? But goodness, yes, you're going to pass that baton on with the fierceness to someone who knows that all of us matter. Are you willing to do that? Yes. May you go in peace and friends. May you return in future weeks to a community that holds you with care, love, and grace. May it be so.
You're welcome to sit and stay. I've got a lovely song for you. Yeah. I love the music of Harold Arlen. You know him mostly for Over the Rainbow and a whole lot of other wonderful songs, but every time we put that beautiful globe back up, I can't help but want to sing this song. Unfortunately, the globe got back up a couple of weeks ago, but we had programming and so forth that pretty much preempted my doing this song, but I'm doing it today. I got the world on a string, sitting on a rainbow, got the string around my finger. What a world, what a life, I'm in love. I got the song that I sing, I can make the ring go anytime I move my finger. Lucky me, can't you see I'm in love? Life is a beautiful thing, as long as I hold the string. I'd be a silly so-and-so if I should ever let go. I got the world on a string, sitting on a rainbow, caught the string around my finger. What a world, what a life, I'm in love. Life is a beautiful thing. I got the world on a string, sitting on a rainbow, got the string around my finger. What a life, what a world, I'm in love.